This is the Element RC Gatekeeper. I've just finished the kit. I've used stock standard parts throughout, added my own electrics, and it's pretty. The interior is quite cool. I just painted this one flush black and added the stickers because they're quite comprehensive. Did my own paint job on the outside, which came up pretty well. I'd give the manual a B as far as ease of use goes. Traxxas, I think, has the gold standard for simplicity. Element leaves you to guess a little bit, but overall pretty good. I did have to shim the axles. I've got 0.3mm shim on the front pinion and 0.2mm shim on the rear. That was just to eliminate any movement in the diffs, so they're rock solid. They're deeply helical cut gears too, so they look like they'll be pretty strong. One of its party tricks is how you get to the inside. Now inside this kit, I'm actually just experimenting with a JX Servo 6V LV, their low voltage servo. That's that fella there. I'm also running the 1080 ESC, and I'm running the Holmes Hobbies 5-slot 16-turn 540 Krawler. For the sake of fairness, I've stuck the same wheels and tyres on as I did on the Capra, but these two cars aren't quite the same. The Gatekeeper appears to have quite a lot in common with the Capra, but also with the Axial Bomber, in that it's something of a rock runner. Most notably, its rear suspension uses a sway bar system, which you see when one side goes up, it picks up the other side as well. In a more traditional live axle setup, what one side does doesn't really affect the other side, but on this, it actually picks up the other side. And that's because there's a sway bar running up through there. So that belies its rock runner design somewhat. And I've got 11.83% overdrive. It's the same as all the other enduro platforms. They've changed the mix of the plastic so it has a higher rigidity. All the greys, including on the diffs, the axles, the rear links, the skid plate and the sliders, they are the new grey plastic for this vehicle. It is wider than the Capra. It's again more like the Bomber, except it has 1.9s. Now it has a stumpy battery tray. It came with a wide one, but that doesn't fit under this body. So you can only use the full-size battery tray if you had a different body that wasn't cut down like this, if you had a more traditional body. For this kind of rig, it's already quite top heavy, so you wouldn't want to use one of the traditional packs. You want a shorty pack. I'll be using the same battery in this as I use in all my cars, which is it's a 700 milliamp hour 3S battery. I think this is going to be a reasonably good performer, honestly. Certainly it's top heavy. The suspension's nice. Being that it's a kit, I got to set it up the way I liked it. I don't like having the shocks being laid down at all, and being that they're further in, they actually have less effect on the axle overall. They really both want to be back and vertical to be maximally effective, but I've added as much preload as I dare, and I think it'll perform okay. Now this is a heavy rig. It's actually quite top heavy. It feels like it's going to be fairly tippy, and also I suspect it's not going to like climbing too much, which is weird to say for a crawler that looks like this, but I expect it to have some gravity issues, some center of gravity issues. There's quite a bit of weight to this top cage, but that's okay. So let's get it onto the rocks. I'm very interested to see how this 16-turn 5-slot 540 from Holmes goes. I bet you it's going to be good. We'll see how it performs, and then we'll start doing some comparisons with it. So stay tuned. This is the Element RC Gatekeeper. This has the same alloy wheels and BFGoodrich Krawler 1.9s that are on the Capra when I tested it. So let's give it a go. With the 16-turn 5-slot 540 Holmes Krawler. It's the cheap 5-slot motor that Holmes puts out. Now I'm just getting used to this rig. Of course, I haven't driven it before. And it is top heavy, to be sure. Now the servo I'm using is the JX LV servo. Now the LV series is a 25 kilogram rated, 4.8 to 6 volts, and it's running at 6 volts from the BEC in the 1080 ESC that we've got here. It's less than you want for a rig of this kind, but I've used these servos before and I like them. Yeah, look at that. So the tires play a crucial part, of course, but that's nice. And if you ever lay eyes on this video, Mr. Holmes, I love your motors, I love your work. The 5-slot making the low speed control here just absolutely wonderful. I wonder what the punch is like. I bet it's alright. So you sacrifice wheel speed with the 5 slots, but you get beautiful smoothness, and the torque is quite decent too. Now the top heavy nature of this little beastie. Oh, listen to that. Oh, I like this. The approach angle being hampered there by the, that was actually the hinge mount for the body. Not ideal. I do wonder what this will be like on 2.2s. I'll do a 1.9 versus 2.2 video for this. Oh, this will do it. You watch, this will do it. Look at that. So geometry plays a big role on these things. Also, there's a bent front link there that helps with clearance. We're not up yet, but we will be. There you go. Nice. Okay, on to problem 4. Now the diff's getting caught up there. It's got a nice smooth front on it, but without portals, clearance is something of an issue. Now we've got these bent front links which help, but line choice is going to really matter with the Gatekeeper. I'll also add that tires are always important, but on a rig like this, where you're top heavy already, clearance is something of a challenge. You really want to have some quality rubber under this rig. Don't cheap out. If you're going to buy a nice crawler like this, get some rubber that's up to the job. Now I've fallen off here a few times. There we go. That'll do it. Now you're only seeing this one attempt, but that took 5 attempts. Now the first 3 problems were very smooth. The 4th problem I had to have a few goes at to get there. Now I've said the Gatekeeper's top heavy, and it is, but it's not too bad. It held that pretty nicely. Now note the nose is sticking out quite a long way. It didn't get in the way on this problem, but it could. If I was designing this truck, I would move this whole thing back to about there if I could. This has already got quite a few scratches and wear marks on it. It wants to be back a bit. It really is unnecessarily far forward. I know it's been modelled from a real vehicle, but liberty could be taken, I think, in the name of performance. There we go, we're up. Alright, there was a bit of struggle, but we've got 5 out of 5 problems so far. Didn't do it as easily as the Capra, but again, this isn't the same rig as the Capra. I'm interested to see how this performs on problem 6, actually. Although it's a top-heavy little rig, my feeling is that it's going to do it. Let's find out. Now it's hung up on the axle there. The diff is stuck on the point on the rock. There we go. Now tyres are pretty crucial for something like this, and I need them to get some kind of purchase here before we make any more forward progress. There we go. Now again, I've got the 11.83% overdrive, which is helpful in a problem like this especially. I'll just bring you around. Now we're at an uncomfortable angle for the geometry of this rig, but I'm hoping to bring the back wheel up and this wheel down and around, and I think we're going to get around here without needing wheel speed, is my feeling. There we go. Now check it out. Look at that. It's pushing this rock out though. I will need to reverse so so that we don't lose that little ledge. Now the back wheel is completely in the air at the moment. There we go. Here, as long as there's clearance and those bent links at the front are helping, we'll do it. And then the tyres bring it home. This back tyre brings it home. So there you go, boys and girls, that's 6 for 6. Well, I wasn't sure this would be a happy conclusion. The Gatekeeper is top heavy, to be sure. The suspension is set up for rock racing, and we should do a little bit of that. But for the rock crawling part of this review, hey, it just did 6 out of 6 problems. The rig already has some battle scars on the diffs. The rear shaft, let's have a look here. So the rocks are hitting here, and it's going to wear this out prematurely. You really, as a designer, you want to bring this axle up just a little bit. It's quite a long thread that goes into the ball ends. So increase by 2 mil the top link length, which will rotate the axle back a bit, which will pick this thing up from being hit by rocks, because otherwise that's going to get destroyed. Suspension cycles nicely. I've got the manual recommended 3 mil preload on these shocks. I paid attention to it, and I've got 8 mil on the left, and I've got 7 mil on the right. That's to account for torque twist as well, which unfortunately there is a little bit, not a lot, but there is some. I've used a relatively weak servo, and it runs at 6 volts. It's enough for the most part. If this was a competition crawler, you'd really want something stronger. The HV variant from JX Servo, which is also rated at 25 kilos but runs up to 8.4 volts with the BEC, that'd be a good budget alternative. Same price as this, it's still the US 20 bucks or so, and plenty strong. Would I buy this as my only truck? Possibly. So assuming I was on a budget and I could only buy one truck, this is actually a decent buy if you just want to bash. If you just want to crawl, consider the Capra if you want this style of machine. As far as value for money goes, I haven't actually spent a lot of money on this. Obviously there's a few different colors here in paint, so that adds a little bit each time, but not much. Overall, yeah, look, it's a nice rig. Does it need anything done to it? Yeah, a little bit of extra weight at the front wouldn't hurt, but it's pretty well set up already, honestly. So this is the Element RC Gatekeeper. Stay tuned, we're going to do a comparison with the Capra, and I'm also going to do a 1.9 versus 2.2 test with some data to back it up. So stay tuned for that. If you found this video useful, or you liked it, or you just want to support the channel, throw me a like, I'd really appreciate that. So thank you guys, and thank you for watching. So I'll catch you next time on RC-TNT. Oh, and isn't this sunrise just glorious? It's going to be a beautiful day. And all the more so because I can finally get on the rocks. Let's do it.